What's up, amigos? Here's our second episode of our theory crafting series. This video, we have our Airbender Druid build. If you haven't already seen our Earthbender guide, definitely go check that out. That's the one I'll be testing out today, live over on kick.com/fluffyamigo when the servers come up. So, starting out for our basic attack, we're going to go Wind Shear, into Enhanced Wind Shear, and then into Fierce Wind Shear. Now, the interesting thing about Wind Shear is I'm pretty sure this is the highest percent chance to inflict vulnerable status. Or not the highest, but the longest to inflict vulnerable status. It lasts for 4 seconds. We have a 35% chance to inflict it for 4 seconds. So, on top of that, we're also going with movement speed here. This is going to be really nice because we are aiming for a nice mobile build. So, we have a chance to go up to 20% movement speed for 3 seconds every time we hit with our Wind Shear. It stacks. I imagine it would stack up to, 4 times. So moving on over to our core skills, we are going to be using Tornado. So it's not really anything special. We're going to be maxing out Tornado 5 points. Enhanced Tornado is the only modifier we're actually going to be using because I don't think Primal nor Raging is really that great. I mean, a 5% chance to become vulnerable, that's way too low. And then the slow, it's not really that great. We don't really aim to stack a lot of CC in this build for any scalability. So we just opt to go Enhanced Tornado. And what this does is gives us a 20% chance to spawn an additional tornado. This is, what I think will be decent for AoE clearing. If not, it's just extra boss damage. So for our defensives, I said this in my Earthbender build, Druids have the best defensive skills in this entire game. Which is why we honestly opt to use 2 in this build. First one is Cyclone Armor. This should be a staple in every Druid build, for any Druid build. I mean, you get a flat 20% non-physical damage reduction, which the key phrase here is non-physical damage reduction, which means we're going to get elemental damage reduction. And at a passive effect, this is incredible. It also has a knockback for an active, a little cheeky if you need it. We're going to be going into Enhanced Cyclone Armor, which just enhances our knockback, so the active skill of Cyclone Armor. It slows enemies by 40% for 3 seconds. The real deal breaker here is preserving Cyclone Armor. Every 10 seconds when we're in combat and taking incoming damage, we are receiving an additional 40% damage reduction for X amount of time. This is a 40% global damage reduction. For our second defensive skill, we are actually going to go try Earthen Bulwark. So this gives us a base barrier that absorbs 10% of our base life in damage. We're taking Enhanced, which makes us unstoppable, which unstoppable status makes sure that we can't get CC'd. So if we are CC'd, this will break it, make us immune for the duration, which is 3 seconds. What I want to try is the Innate Earthen Bulwark. This is actually going to be something for potential clear. It's going to do 300% damage based on our barrier bonuses when our shield expires or is destroyed. So, if for whatever reason this spell doesn't live up to what I think it will live up to for potential clear, you can always opt to get rid of this secondary defensive, go up to here for Heart of the Wild, which is just going to be a prereq. 3 Spirit is not a lot at all, but it's a prereq to get where we want to go, which is Wild Impulses. Your core skills cost 5% more damage and deal 10% increased damage. We're going to put 2 points into that. Our Tornado will deal 20% extra damage. It will cost more, which is, It's weird because Tornado is already the highest spirit cost skill, but I'm sure we can make it work if we just stack a little bit maybe of attack speed on Wind Shear. So that is an option. But for now, we're going to go put a point in the Bulwark up to an innate. We're not taking any companions in this build, so we don't need any points over here. What we do need to do to get to our Wrath is spend an additional 2 points. So we are going to make sure we put 2 more points, or 1 more point in the Cyclone, make sure we have Preserving. And now we can enter our Wrath tree, which we're going to max our Hurricane into Enhanced Hurricane, and then into Natural Hurricane. So, since the build is called Airbender, we are maxing our Hurricane for obvious reasons. It's a 20-second cooldown, 8 seconds, it surrounds us with a Hurricane that deals 102% damage. So, it's worth noting that Hurricane and Tornado are both labeled with the tag Physical. So, I believe this will scale with % physical damage that you find on gear. Enhanced Hurricane will make it to where it's slowing enemies by 25% for 2 seconds when they're hit by the Hurricane, which is an extra, you know, obviously defensive mechanic, I guess you can say. Natural Hurricane is the real big thing here. Since they're going to be taking constant damage for those 8 seconds, we have a 15% chance to make enemies vulnerable for 3 seconds. But for our next point, we're also going to go and spec into Elemental Exposure, put 1 point of this. So our lucky hit is 33% with Hurricane, base. Elemental Exposure gives us an extra lucky hit bonus, where we'll have a 20% chance to make enemies vulnerable for 1 second. So our last point, which is going to go into Grizzly Rage. We shapeshift into a Dire Bear for 10 seconds, gaining 20% bonus damage and 20% damage reduction. Damage bonus is increased by 3% each second while in this form. We can also extend it by up to 10 additional seconds, which means we'll have a total of 20 seconds in Dire Bear potentially for an extra 60% bonus damage. So, a quick overview on the build here is we are constantly moving to blow things away with our Tornadoes and Hurricane. Tornadoes, in theory, should be great for bossing and single target damage. If it reacts like Diablo 2 Tornadoes and they're very sporadic, it can be a nuisance for some people. It may not just be fun for some people. We use 2 defenses because our thought process behind Tornadoes will be stationary at times, spamming Tornadoes, so we want a good amount of survivability and sustain. In this build, we have 3 ways to inflict status effect or vulnerable status effect. Our main spender Tornadoes because of our passive point Elemental Exposure, because both Hurricane and Tornadoes count also as a storm spell. And then, of course, we have our Wind Shear. Always make sure that Earthen Bulwark is used off cooldown with Hurricane. Use Grizzly Rage when faced with a huge group of enemies, plus elites, bosses. Again, if Bulwark isn't as good as it seems, make sure to respec out of it and go into Heart of the Wild into 2 more points of Wild Impulses for extra tornado damage. In the written guide, I have good magic properties and affixes that you should be looking for on all your gear. I'll also throw them up here briefly on screen, along with the leveling process of what you should be taking per level. You can obviously mix it up, but this is my personal opinion on what's best and what will maximize your damage and your level and experience early on. And that is it for our Airbender Druid build. If you enjoyed the video or what we plan on doing up until the release, go ahead and like and subscribe for more content. If you have any suggestions, feel free to comment down below and enjoy your open beta weekend. And until next time.